open house for rising fifth graders from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. They may be accompanied by one adult. It's a really busy morning, but it's the time to go and decorate their locker and get them ready for school in September. So if you can make it, please, it's again August 28th. And additionally, also on that day, for grades 6 through 8, they're able to come from 12:30 to 2:30, but for that class, it's just students only. So those are two key updates, and then our next meeting is August 12th, so hope to see you then.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cheatham. At this time, I'd like to move to Derflinger. All in favor? All right. Good night, everyone.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Said notice was published in the Home News Tribune on January 2nd of this year, posted in Borough Hall, and sent to the Star Ledger for information. All requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act were satisfied. Adam, would you be so kind as to lead us off on the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, of course. Ms. Clarkson? Here. Ms. Cohn? Mr. Delia?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Ms. Gelber? Here. Mr. Grossman?
Here.
Ms. Koskowski?
Here.
Mr. Lifton?
Here.
Mr. Love? Mr. Wester? Mr. Coughlin? And Ms. Zachariah? Thank
Okay.
you.
Declare a healthy quorum present. Thank you for coming out on a summer evening. Our agenda is relatively slim, the first of which is new business ordinance 2025-14, amending the code relative to land development, and this is the affordable housing we were discussing recently. And Adam, if you would just give us a little primer.
Sure. So the Metuchen governing body is currently considering this ordinance, which everyone should have in front of them. It's been referred to the planning board as is necessary with any ordinance that touches upon land development and zoning issues. So this one, as you said, pertains to affordable housing. It amends Section 95.7 under Article 21, under Article Chapter 110, which governs set-asides for affordable housing. The main impact of the new ordinance is on page 2 of the ordinance, the new Section E. It basically simplifies, it expands what developments are considered and kind of simplifies things. In the old version of the ordinance, new developments had to fall into a certain category, like, for example, property that was once zoned non-residential, now it was zoned residential, and if it was over a certain unit limit, then in that case, it falls under the jurisdiction or the control of this ordinance. Here, instead, it's all applications for development, all new development proposing and/or containing 5 or more dwelling units shall comply. So it just makes it kind of a blanket ordinance. It also changes, it makes uniform the total percent of dwelling units for both rental. It makes 20%. In the old ordinance, I think it was 13% or 15% of total number of units in a rental development shall be set aside as affordable housing units. This brings it up to 20%. It makes 50% of units being affordable units for low-income households, 13% to very low-income households. We also included a calculation for payments in lieu of fractions of an affordable unit, because obviously there's odd numbers out there. So this includes a formula for calculation, which is set to the Consumer Price Index. And I think that's pretty much it. And like I said at the beginning, I think we recently dealt with a similar scenario where an ordinance was referred to the board. And this is one of the powers of the board, is to review these proposed ordinances and either just approve it, or not approve it, to recommend its approval to the governing body, or if there are issues, if it's for some reason in the board's determination not consistent with the master plan, then that type of report is delivered to the governing body. But that's pretty much it. And Chris, I don't know if you have anything else. I'm sure you do, but.
No, just actually, you stole my thunder. So I'll keep it
Perfect.
very brief.
That's what I was going for.
So as you recall, for over the past year, we've been preparing the Affordable Housing Fair Share Plan. And part of the new rules promulgated by the DCA was that we had to adopt a plan with draft ordinances by June 30th, 2025, which we did do. So I would say that's an accomplishment. along with several hundred other towns, and even some are still working on it with hopefully extended deadlines. Part of our affordable housing and fair share plan, housing element and fair share plan was draft ordinances to consider for adoption by March 2026. Given the ongoing development and interest in the borough, we felt that it was appropriate to just, since we have the draft ordinance, might as well adopt it now and codify it. And as council indicated, what it really does is simplifies the beginning statement, a convoluted statement saying, oh, when there's rezoning, we don't really do rezonings here. When there's rezoning of properties and in multifamily zones, we don't have multifamily zones technically. So it greatly simplifies the statement and applies a uniform 20% set-aside state requirement for sale as for rental. It used to be 15% for rental, 20% for sale. Now it's 20% for both. In terms of consistency with the master plan, your role is to determine whether that is not inconsistent with the master plan. Obviously, we did do a recent master plan update with the housing element and the fair share plan just less than 2 months ago. And this ordinance is obviously consistent with that effort, other than the cleanup and beginning statement, simplifying the set aside, basically removing multifamily zones as the title and making it just simply set asides. Reads much better, much easier to enforce, easier for staff to interpret the ordinance and explain to developers. So it's my recommendation the board finds that it's not inconsistent with the master plan.
I have a question, Chris. The threshold of 5 units, is that based on the studies that were done of what housing we have at the moment?
It's a pretty standard limit, and that was what we had previously, so we're sticking with that standard. It's very rare, because if it's 1 or 2 units, you're going to require that 1 or 2 units to be affordable, and it would not be conducive to redevelopment.
So 5 units is kind of a uniform standard?
Yes, yeah, I believe years ago, the 10 was the trigger. It was lowered to 5, I believe, for the third round, but we were keeping with the 5 as the trigger.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Questions for our professionals about this resolution?
I have a question. So I understand clearly the cleaning up the language and making it clear. The choice to raise the percentage for the rental units, you said, from 15 to 20%?
Effectively from 15 to 20%, yeah.
Was that decision made to make sure the borough is in accordance with the law and the various court decisions over the years, or was that a decision that the borough council made because that was their considered decision? That are we trying to meet a statute, or was that a decision of the borough council because they think it's good policy, or both?
I would say it's a combination of both. Really, the percentage it can be different from town to town, and it really comes down to the obligation that's required in terms of the set-aside overall for the community. In this case, 349 for the third round, some of which still has not been built, 120 for the fourth round. Some towns have thousands of units, and it's a strategy of how can we get to that number quicker, and they select a number that's a balance of not shunning development, because obviously with more percentage, it's more difficult to build that project because profits, in theory, less. And also want to make sure it's high enough so that way when projects are built, we are chipping away at the affordable housing requirement. And we do that because it's obligated, plus it's also the right thing to do. Many communities are going to the 20%. There's some towns going even higher. I believe West Windsor is 25%. There's some towns going even higher than that. But 20% was a decision that we collectively, when I say we, I'm talking about the subcommittee, that's myself, Linda, I believe Councilman Delia was on it, obviously our affordable housing planner, and Catherine Sarmad, as well as Bob Renaud and Aaron Simone from Maley Gibbons. We collectively determined that it was appropriate to modestly raise it from 15% to 20%. On small projects, it really makes no difference. It really only becomes a magnitude of difference when you get into much larger projects of 50 or 100 plus units.
And the change in the language, cleaning up of the language, as you're describing it, does that mean that before certain projects would have been exempt and now they aren't, or there was no substantive change based on the language?
The change was mainly just a cleanup of making it read easier. It effectively does not make any change. There's always been 5 or more units if you acquire affordable housing. But if you read the prior ordinance, actually was on the books right now, if you read it, it's hard to tell that this is trigger or not. This just makes it simple. All site plan applications, or really all applications for development, 5 or more units, requires a set aside. Current language goes on for sentences, and it's hard to tell, like, does this apply or not? This makes it clear. But to directly answer your question, effectively no change. It just makes it easier to read it.
Okay, so less ambiguous and more straightforward. Councilman, anything to add?
Yeah, I did. It's just because you mentioned this idea of like chipping away, which brought to my mind. So, we're just starting the 4th round. We just finished up the 3rd round. You have to show your work essentially when you're finishing up your 3rd round, and that's something that we've done as that subcommittee, and Chris and everyone else sort of went through and showed how we met our obligations for the 3rd round. And by having that 15% at the time, we very much were able to see us chipping away these mid-sized, not, obviously the larger Woodmonts, that eats up a big chunk. But by having that 15, we really kind of saw that, oh, well, we got 1 here, we have 4 over here, we have 3 over here. So that was part of it, the idea of, well, if we went to 20%, we can probably chip away more. It allows us to maybe not have to do such large projects to meet our 4th round obligation, because we're able to like kind of grab little bits and pieces along the way. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, plus also, we have been talking about, it should be 20% when we do adopt the ordinance. So currently, the regulation says 15% just for rental projects. Why wait till March 2026 when we know it's in a housing plan to suggest to be 20%? So you have this several month-long lag potentially of someone reading our housing plan saying it should be 20% as a draft ordinance. Our current ordinance says 15%. Which is it? Might as well just do it now. Make it 20%.
Well, that's all for all the work for the committee, for putting the time in and the research. Mount Laurel & Co. is always a moving target and very malleable, so, always going to be something that the board is going to have to work on. And to that end, we're being asked to approve this ordinance. So I'll say again, any more questions for our professionals relative to this? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to recommend the Borough Council
Thank
adopt.
you. Mr. Lipton, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, would you do the honors and take a vote, please?
Yes, of course. Ms. Clarkson?
Yes.
Mr. Delia?
Yes.
Ms. Gelber?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Ms. Koskowski?
Yes.
Mr. Lipton?
Yes.
And Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, back over to you guys, and Godspeed. Okay, the only thing left, apparently, is correspondence. So we have our special meeting that some of us got to attend, and then the minutes for our June 5th, 2025 meeting. Adam, do you have any objections to me putting those two together?
No. Oh, I
Okay.
didn't. No objection.
Given the simplicity of what's before us for the correspondence and for the meeting minutes, all those in favor, can we just say, make a motion to say aye or nay?
I just voice, I know
You want to do them
Like to-
separately?
I think you have to, because people that were not at the meeting, I don't know if they can.
I don't know if we even remember who's at the meeting, but that's fine. I know, I certainly can.
Typically, if we're not there, we don't get called to vote, so that's the only way I know
That's
whether
why I
I'm at a
always
meeting or
try to do
not.
the INA, so
I-
anybody who doesn't remember doesn't have to worry. You just say yes or no based on whether you think you were there or not. So, again, we have our special May 7th, 2025 meeting. I'm going to say I'll move that correspondence. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those who would like to vote aye, please say aye.
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 And those who are inclined to say nay, say nay. Okay, it's Group 1 down and 1 to go. Next is our June 5th, 2025 meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to approve that, please?
Motion to approve.
Okay, can I have a second? I'll second it. There you go. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, we're almost in the home stretch there. Correspondence. Going to open the public portion of the meeting this evening. Anyone in the public would like to come forward? You're giving me the peace sign?
Yes, no, actually, just a comment. We are in the middle of really the beginning stages of the master plan effort. Don't mean to steal the mayor's, thunder here, but I do want to announce that we are getting ready to release our community vision survey, soft release, I would say, at our August 17th Green Fair. And over the course of the next month, we will be updating the website, have a landing page for how you can engage. We plan to go to farmers markets and then announce dates for the actual community open house, similar to the Galton redevelopment plan at the high school or the Metuchen Arts District at the Edgar Middle School. Where it's going to be that type of science fair effect where people comment on areas in town, concerns about where we're heading, where we want to go, as well as identify concerns related to climate change, as required by the land use plan element in the municipal land use law. So it's just beginning, and it's due July 2026, so we're getting a head start.
Well, like I said, you're a busy man, and good thing you've got nothing to do there, buddy, because I know you've got a lot on your plate these days. But seeing no one else in the public, and thank you, Planner, we'll close the public portion for this evening. Anything else to discuss before we adjourn? Okay, motion to adjourn? Okay, I heard SFG say yes, and Ellen say second, so I'm going to say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you all.